I do want to ask you this week's Corona question. You are my lead-off hitter this week. The Corona question is this: how have you kept physically and or mentally fit during this crazy period of time called 2020?
Well, as we've talked about before, I love mountain biking. And so during the warm weather and the dry weather, definitely mountain biking. And now as we've headed into winter, I look out the window right now and we just got a fresh inch of snow. I invested in some Peloton equipment. So I've got a Peloton treadmill and a Peloton bike that we've got in our home workout Ninja Warrior training studio that my son has. So, and it's actually become quite popular among my kids. I didn't realize how fun they would, like how much they would enjoy these workout classes that they can do at home.
And I said, I just didn't. So physically at first, I used to go to the gym every day. And then we ended up on lockdown and I was like, oh, it's just a couple of weeks. No big deal to miss the gym for a couple of weeks. And then it was a month, and then it was 2 months, and it was 3 months. I started trying at-home workouts. Like Lucy Wyndham Reed is fantastic for at-home workouts, and they're great. But the problem is the space at home. Like my kids are always at home, and they were like, it was not conducive. So at the best, I go for walks, and it's not just the exercise, it's the air that helps me. But as far as like staying fit, I'm going to have to start all over again and get my muscles back when this is over, because I just haven't been able to do it.
Yeah, physically fit, not my thing. Mentally fit, if I was under a lot of stress or, I would just go out and smoke a cigar. It's an hour to myself, just sitting there thinking. And it could be, I never did an AM smoke, but like instead of grabbing lunch, I'll grab, an iced tea and go smoke a cigar, or late afternoon, or, yeah, if I was having a particularly stressful or difficult day, a nice mild cigar and an hour to myself would usually cure that. I do wish I ate better and exercised more, but that's my honest answer.
All right, so avoid day drinking, avoid AM smoking, but other than that, a good cigar. Treat yourself to a good cigar, and it will get you back on track.
So one way is chasing the dog, but I think it's actually been a real kind of interesting fits and starts kind of year for that. But I think the one thing I did commit to was, I think after years of just sort of working by myself, for myself, being in a kind of remote work way for years as a practitioner, I had this kind of wake up call earlier in the spring or early summer, I guess, where I suddenly realized that I really just was so disconnected from my body that was the thing I wanted. Not necessarily to get in shape or whatever, but to just feel like I know where my body is moving in space and why it's moving the way it's moving and why I get a sore neck sometimes or whatever. And so I actually started working with a physical therapist that I knew from Brooklyn who'd moved down to Virginia but kept her license in New York. We've been doing remote health, PT sessions once a week. And that's probably been like the most useful thing on the physical side. Is just it's not high intensity stuff. It's just a lot of like getting a mental map of how my body works. So that's been one thing. Down to I now have like an anatomy app on my iPad, and when she starts talking about the sacroiliac joint, I go, hang on, and open up the anatomy app so I can get a visual of what that means.
I actually know where the sacroiliac joint is.
My go-to for physical fitness has always been tennis. And, I'm grateful that where we live in our community, there are 2 hard true tennis courts and there's hardly anybody over there. So we do that. The other thing that I had started that was new was a virtual yoga session with Brenda Swanson of Body by Brenda. And that's been really helpful just in terms of having a rigorous kind of schedule. So we do 3 days per week, every single day, and it's via Zoom, and it's fun, and you meet a bunch of fun people from California to Colorado. And then, from a mental standpoint, I've just really taken a decided effort to be steeped even more so in gratitude, right? Because gratitude just becomes the antithesis for all of our ails, and being more focused on doing meditation and calming exercises, learning all about what I can do to continue to be healthy and whole in my soul and not let, you know, what my natural eyes see around me be the determining factor of what is in my heart. So that's what I've been up to.
Yeah, so I turned my garage into a gym. So I've been using that space to kind of like keep me physically fit. I, you know, work out around 4:30 in the morning. So when the gyms closed because of Corona, I had to find a solution because I really wanted to stick to my routine. So I quickly just turned my garage into a gym. So that's the physical side of it. When things started to open up, I started doing Oseo Strong. And this is like, you know, a biohack, right? It really helps with your bone density. I found out about it when I was at a Tony Robbins event, because obviously with Nonbelievable, we get to go to a lot of Tony's events because we're business partners with Tony. So I learned about Oseo Strong, and I've been using it. And oh my goodness, like I've been measuring like my strength and all these different things. And when I started doing that, I've seen so much like increase in my strength and in like everything by just using this biohack. So I would highly encourage you guys to look into it. And when it comes to mentally, you know, reading has been great. So I definitely read. But then when I talk to Joe, all the work that I would have done for my mental fitness goes away. So, you know, it's really been the working out in my garage, Oseo Strong, and reading. Those have been kind of like the three things I've been doing.
I am not nearly so sophisticated as to do any sort of biohacking, but like Faith, I do enjoy playing tennis, and I play tennis a couple of days a week with my wife. In terms of, and I live in a beautiful part of the world. I live in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, so we can, you know, go out and hike even when there's a pandemic. But one key for my mental health is the thing that I've missed is really serendipity. And so I'm mindfully really introducing randomness into my life. And there's this app that I've tried called Lunch Club, where you're matched up with like people you've never known before. And you can kind of pick, I want to know, you know, I want to talk to marketing people. I want to talk to branding people. And it's, you know, it's been a really good experience. And we found ways to help each other and get some new ideas. And I do that once or twice a week just to, you know, introduce randomness into my life.
For the past 10 years, I exercise every single day. I have lucky to have a home studio. Normally, I swim a couple days a week, but that's out because my health club is closed. So I do yoga, I do Pilates, I do weights, I do pull-ups and push-ups. I do get exercise for about an hour every single day. I think I've missed probably a dozen days in calendar year 2020.
Wow, and that's why you're still so svelte.
No, it's funny. Obviously, people will be waiting to hear about my fitness regime, you know, obviously looking at this. Now, it's funny, Faith said earlier that, you know, she wished it could be Christmas every day. My dog thinks it's Christmas every day at the moment because, you know, having been at home for nearly a year, luckily where we live is about 50 k's south of Melbourne. In the sort of countryside of the bush, as they call it here. So there's lots and lots of places to walk, you know. So I've just, you know, out with the dog all the time. I kind of feel sorry for a lot of the dogs that we see because I've never seen them before, you know. And so when everyone, you know, if people go back to work or what have you, these dogs are not going to get walked, you know. So maybe there's a business idea in there.